Hi, my name is Brendan Fruin and today I will be demonstrating NewsStand for Android. NewsStand is a system currently being developed at the University of Maryland at College Park under the direction of Hanan Samit for aggregating and geotagging news from over 10,000 RSS feeds in 15 languages. There is currently a web application and mobile applications for Android, iOS, and Windows Phone. For this demonstration, I will be using the Genymotion Android simulator. Although it is an improvement over the built-in simulator, it is much more sluggish than an actual device, especially with regards to the map. When NewsStand is open, NewsStand's map mode is displayed. Map mode consists of three parts: the top application bar, the map and its overlays, and the bottom application bar, which are now described in detail. The top application bar contains the buttons to change the map's current view, along with a slider and a text to label. The four buttons in order from left to right are the Home button, the Local button, the World button, and the Locate button. The Home button updates the map window to a user-specified location. This location can be set under Settings under the Overflow or Menu button. The Local button, if the user gives permission to NewsStand, will update the map window to the user's current location. On zoom to the user's location, it is required that markers are displayed, and if there are not any at the specified zoom level, then the map will continue to zoom out until markers are displayed. The World button updates the map window to zoom all the way out from the current position. The Locate button displays a message box asking for a user to enter a location in a text field. For example, entering Cairo will update the map window to display Cairo. In the middle of the top application bar is a stand mode label and the map slider. The stand mode label is simply text centered above the slider that tells the user what stand is currently being used. The options include NewsStand, Twitter stand, or Photo stand, which can be set by the Settings button described later. The map slider allows the user to change the number of markers displayed on the map. The default value is 50%, meaning that half of the available markers are displayed unless the user changes the slider value. Most of the map mode page is occupied by the map and overlays over top of the map. These overlays consist of a plus and minus button, the map markers, the current search key and its corresponding cancel button if it is set, and the current sources along with its corresponding cancel button. The plus and minus buttons allow for zooming in and out on the map. The map markers represent news clusters located at their respective locations on the map. By default, the markers are icons representing the topic of the news cluster that they correspond to, but this can be changed by selecting the Layers button on the bottom application bar. As the map viewing window changes, the underlying map markers update for the new map window. In this way, NewsStand displays news for varying levels of granularity based on the map viewing window. Selection of a map marker gives the location name along with the title of the representative article for the first cluster at the selected location. Selecting the info window opens the location page, which displays a list of news clusters for a given location. Selecting a story on the location page highlights it and opens the snippet page. The snippet page displays information about the current article, including buttons to view the images, videos, and related articles. The user can browse other stories at this location by the arrow buttons located in the upper right corner of the page. Selecting the headline opens the article, where the user can share, increase or decrease the text size. This cluster has 105 images. Selecting See 105 Images displays the image grid page of all the images in the current news cluster. Images may be duplicates, which can be marked or removed. Selection of an image enlarges it and displays its caption underneath of it. Tapping the image opens the article that contains the image. Swiping the enlarged image allows jumping to different images that are above, below, left or right of the currently selected image. Selecting the magnifying glass in the bottom right corner opens the image individually. Pinching allows for zooming in and out on the image. Tapping an area outside of the image will dismiss the enlarged image and return control to the image grid. To view the videos for this news cluster, select See 5 Videos, which displays the video page of all the videos in the current news cluster. Videos are displayed in a list with the video's title and preview image, the duration, the date it was retrieved, and the domain of the video source. Selecting a row in the videos list will open the video in full screen. Returning to the map and its overlays, we have the current source label, which displays the current source or sources selected. Its default value is all sources most recent, meaning that all languages and all feeds are displayed, showing the top news clusters with the most recent article in the cluster as the representative. The bottom application bar consists of 6 buttons. From left to right, they are the Layers button, the Keyword button, the Mode button, the Sources button, the Top Stories button, and the Overflow button. The Layers button allows the user to select what the map markers display. Selecting it opens the Layers dialog, with the icon layer selected by default. The other options are the Disease layer, which displays a disease name found in a cluster at the corresponding location, the Keyword layer, which displays a keyword found in a cluster at the corresponding location, the Location layer, which displays the location name, and the People layer, which displays a person's name found in a cluster at the corresponding location. I will now select the Disease layer. Notice that the map marker icons have now been replaced with disease names. Selecting an article and its info window, gives a list of disease mentions and their headlines. Selecting an article will also give the disease reference in the article. The keyword button prompts the user to enter a search keyword to filter the articles to only display articles that contain the keyword. For example, entering the word spy will update the map to only display articles that contain the word spy. Notice that the current keyword is displayed in a label above the source label. The keyword filter can be removed by selecting the X button. The Mode button allows the user to select the current stand mode. Selecting the Mode button opens the Mode dialog. The current options are Newsstand, Twitter Stand, and Photo Stand. Twitter Stand is similar to Newsstand, but it extracts news from tweets instead of from RSS feeds. Photo Stand extracts, ranks, and displays images on the map at the locations deemed most relevant. I will now switch the mode to Photo Stand. Notice that the mode label above the slider has been updated to show that we are now in Photo Stand, and the map marker icons have been replaced with news images. Selecting an image displays the location name and the caption for the image selected in Info window. Selecting the Info window opens the image grid, which displays all of the images associated with that location, in this case Russia. In Photo Stand, there is an additional section in the image grid page entitled Topics. Selecting Topics displays a representative image for each news cluster at the location. Selecting an image in the Topics section displays the image along with its caption. If there are more images in this news cluster, the More in Topic button is displayed, and selecting this button displays just the images in this cluster. Returning to Newsstand, we have the Sources button, which allows the user to filter the news by language and newsfeed. Selecting it opens the source page and sets the current source label based on the user's selection. The Sources page displays the current language and feed sources. Initially, there are no source filters. Selecting Add Feed Filter opens the feed dialog and displays all feeds for the selected languages. Since there are no language filters currently selected, the feed dialog displays all of the most popular feeds from all of the languages in Newsstand as a list, where each row contains the source name, country flag, the number of recent articles, and the language code. Selecting Add Language Filter opens the language dialog and displays the languages currently in Newsstand. Selecting a language, for example, selecting Arabic, Italian, and German, updates the feed dialog to only show feeds in Arabic, Italian, or German. Filters can be canceled by selecting the X button on the corresponding row. Returning to the map, notice that the source label has been updated to show that we are now filtering by language. Selecting a location and the info window will display headlines from news clusters that have an Arabic or German article. When at least one article in the location page is not in English, a translate icon appears in the top right corner. Selecting this icon translates the headlines to English. Selecting a headline opens a snippet, where we also now have the option to translate the article. We can remove source filters by selecting the X button or through the Sources page. The next button, the Top Stories button, switches the app from map mode to Top Stories mode. I will come back to this shortly. The last button on the bottom application bar is the Overflow button. This button is used in Android apps where there is not enough room to fit all of the buttons. Selecting this button displays the remaining buttons, including the About button, which gives more information on Newsstand, the Filters button, which allows for filtering articles by topic and whether they contain images or videos, and the Settings button, which allows for various app features to be set, including the home location. An alternative way of finding news in Newsstand is its Top Stories mode. By selecting the Top Stories button in Map mode, the user is taken to Top Stories mode, which displays a list of the highest ranked news for the current filters. The Top Stories page can be broken up into 3 sections: the scrollable stories list, the map, and the application bar. The Top Stories list is a scrollable list of the top stories given the current filters. It contains an image representing the topic, the story's headline, a time reference, the domain of the source, a brief description, and buttons for the images, videos, and related articles for that news cluster. Selection of a row in the Top Stories list updates the map to show the locations associated with the current news story. The list can be refreshed by scrolling past the top of the list. The Top Stories map displays the locations for the currently selected news cluster. Each time a row is selected, the locations associated with that row are retrieved and the map viewing window is updated to fit the markers. The number of markers can be adjusted using the slider, which will update both the number of markers displayed and the map viewing window. The application bar in Top Stories mode is the same as in map mode, with the exception that there is no layers button and that only Newsstand or Twitterstand can be selected on the mode page. This concludes my brief demonstration of Newsstand for Android. For more information, including demos of the iOS and Windows Phone versions, please see the description of this video. Thank you.